Some stories don't just scare you. They get under your skin and they just stay there. They tap into this really primal fear that's just so hard to shake. It's the kind of feeling that makes you glance over your shoulder when you're walking down an empty street. Today we're going to dissect that exact feeling, and it all starts with a walk in the dark.
So this story kicks off, like a lot of really unsettling ones do, with something completely normal. A Reddit user, blue_title, shared this experience they had. It was a habit, taking these late-night walks just to clear their head. And for 4 years, it was totally peaceful, just them and the quiet city. Until one night when that all changed. It's late, somewhere between 1 and 2 in the morning, and they see him, just a silhouette, way at the end of a side street. And he's dancing. But it's this weird, old-fashioned waltz, with this strange little forward stride at the end of each step. It's like a dance walk, and he's coming right toward them. As this guy gets closer, the details start to get sharper, and a whole lot weirder. He's tall, lanky, wearing an old suit, and his eyes are wide open, just staring up at the sky. And then there's the smile, a painfully wide, cartoonish grin just stretched across his face. This is the exact moment a simple late-night walk spirals into a full-on nightmare.
Okay, so your first instinct kicks in, right? Avoidance. You gotta get away. So they step off the curb to cross the street, trying to put some safe distance between them and this bizarre dancer. Just a simple, rational move, hoping to get a little bit of control back. But here's the thing. Control is an illusion. As our narrator gets to the other side of the street, they look back, and the man isn't dancing anymore. He's just stopped. 1 foot in the street, standing perfectly parallel to them. Still facing them, still staring at the sky, still with that impossible smile. The whole game just changed.
Totally unnerved, they start walking again, trying not to take their eyes off him. But after half a block, they risk it. Just a quick glance away. When they look back, he's gone. For a split second, there's relief. And then they see him. He crossed the entire street in those few seconds. He's crouched down, way closer now, and he's still just staring. He moved impossibly fast.
Now panic is setting in. Our narrator is just frozen as the man starts moving toward them again. But he's not walking, and he's not running. It's this grotesque pantomime. Huge, exaggerated, tiptoed steps, like a cartoon character trying to sneak up on someone, but he is closing the distance with terrifying speed. He stops just a car's length away, and he's silent, smiling.
After what feels like an eternity, the smiling man slowly turns and starts to walk away again. The narrator just watches, not daring to turn their back. But right as he's almost out of sight, he stops. The distant shape turns and starts getting bigger. He's not dancing now. He is running. Full sprint, straight back at them. And that's when the paralysis breaks, and our narrator runs for their life. They never took a late-night walk again.
So the story ends there, but that feeling, it just lingers. Was it just a bizarre prank? Someone having a psychotic break? Or was it something else entirely? And that question, what was that, is exactly what makes this story so powerful. It feels like a modern piece of internet folklore, but its roots, they go way, way deeper.
You see, the figure in that Reddit post didn't just appear out of nowhere. He is actually the latest evolution of a much older and honestly stranger piece of American folklore, a cryptid that's known as Indrid Cold, or sometimes the Grinning Man.
And what's really fascinating is how the story is transformed. The original Indrid Cold from the 1960s was supposedly an alien. Yeah, he was weird, but he communicated telepathically, even warned people about future disasters. He wasn't necessarily evil. But the smiling man of the internet age, he is pure malice, an insane silent stalker who hunts people for no reason at all. The archetype shed all its ambiguity and just became a vessel for pure, unfiltered dread.
He can literally trace the timeline here. It kicks off in October 1966, when 2 boys in New Jersey see this tall, grinning man. A month later, a salesman claims he had a telepathic encounter with an alien named Indrid Cold. Then for decades, the legend just kind of bubbles under the surface in paranormal circles. Then, bam, 2012, Blue Title's story goes viral on Reddit, and the modern, absolutely terrifying Smiling Man is born.
The terror of the Smiling Man comes from having a public space, a place you think is safe, violated. But some fears aren't about who you might meet out there in the dark, they're about where you are when you meet them. Sometimes, the horror isn't an intruder, it's baked right into the walls around you. So let's explore that idea. Rooms that have a memory. Spaces that seem to hold on to the trauma and the tragedy that happened inside them. We're shifting from a single terrifying person to the accumulated horror of a specific place. Okay, check out the Congress Plaza Hotel in Chicago. This isn't just folklore. This is documented tragic history. The sheer volume of it is chilling. Suicides, murders, freak accidents, even a mother throwing her own children from a window. Each one is a separate tragedy, but when you put them all together, they create this powerful story of a place just saturated with death. It's really no wonder that staff and guests report seeing shadow figures and hearing things they can't explain.
Sometimes, a place's reputation gets so bad, so toxic, that the only thing you can do is just remove it from reality. I mean, think about that. This is one of the most powerful statements a university could possibly make. They're not just saying, don't go in there. They're saying, this room no longer exists. So what on earth could have happened to make them seal a dorm room shut forever?
Well, the legend is basically a perfect storm of horror tropes. It starts with mysterious deaths back in the 70s. The story goes that a student was practicing occult rituals, trying to astral project and contact the dead. After she died, every single person who lived in that room after her reported terrifying paranormal activity, voices, objects flying off shelves, and the kicker, the dorm is supposedly at the center of a pentagram formed by 5 local cemeteries, making it a hotspot for supernatural energy.
So why are these stories so effective? The smiling man, the haunted hotel, that sealed room, they all push these very specific psychological buttons. There's a formula to our fear, a kind of toolkit that storytellers use to build that sense of dread.
Let's break down this toolkit. First, you have this idea of a temporary home with a permanent curse. Think about it. A hotel or dorm room has seen thousands of lives pass through. We have this primal fear that strong emotions, especially trauma, can leave behind a psychic stain. Then, you've got the clever use of numerology, which taps into our pattern-seeking brains and all our superstitions. And finally, a room is a contained, liminal space. You're isolated, you don't know its history, and most importantly, there's really nowhere to run.
And let's talk about one of the most famous haunted room numbers in all of fiction, from the master of horror himself, Stephen King. For anyone who knows the story, just seeing this number on a hotel door is enough to give you a chill. But why this number specifically?
It's so simple, but it's brilliant. The numbers add up to 13. King is using our own superstitions against us. He embeds a well-known symbol of bad luck right into the room's identity. It's this subtle little trick that primes you for terror before a single scary thing has even happened.
And all of this brings us to a much bigger question. We get the mechanics of these stories, we know the psychological triggers they're pulling, so why do we actively seek them out? Our fascination with dread has created an entire industry.
And look, belief in the paranormal is not some fringe idea. According to polls from major outlets like Gallup and Pew Research, over 1/3 of people believe houses can be haunted. A whopping 65% hold at least one paranormal belief, and 71% say they've had a paranormal experience. This isn't just a niche market, it's a massive cultural phenomenon that fuels everything from ghost hunting shows to paranormal tourism.
And that right there is the ultimate paradox. Fear evolved to keep us alive, to warn us about danger, and yet we've commercialized it. We seek out safe fear, the roller coaster, the horror movie, the ghost story, because it gives us that adrenaline rush of survival without any of the actual threat. It's a way for us to confront our own mortality from a nice, safe distance. But why do we willingly walk into the very places and listen to the very stories our instincts scream at us to run from? That's something to think about, maybe, the next time you're alone in the dark.